Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want, fine, funny, fucking money, you're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't because women this and men this, you're moving forward with this person.
All right, so we got ourselves a good one today. We're gonna talk about Joy Taylor and the lawsuit against Fox News, Fox Sports, and her and Skip Bayless are involved in this, and it's pretty much talking about how they were trying to get this woman to have sex with them, who was the makeup artist, and the executives, and just the whole culture at FS1 that was just so crazy and out of control. But the parts that a lot of people are sinking their teeth in is that, one, Skip Bayless offered to pay this lady $1.5 million to have sex with him.
My turn! You told me it was my turn.
You can talk all that you want to, yell and scream, you lost.
It is my turn.
You lost the game.
She said she turned it down, and she also talked a lot about Joy Taylor and her escapades, how Joy Taylor pretty much has been sleeping her way to the top. Wow. Now, Joy Taylor is, as you see on screen, she's a nice looking woman. She originally was a bartender, and she made her way up through the ranks, and people say it's because she was sleeping with one of the executives, one of her co-hosts, and that she later on was going to claim the Me Too movement against the guy that she was messing with. So Joy Taylor was on a show called The Herd. She was also she started out on Fox Sports as the moderator, Skip and Shannon's show. And then she moved to The Herd, where she was featured a lot more. Then from there, she moved over to Speak for Yourself. And then now it's pretty much, she's the main anchor on that show, and it's called Speak. So one of the people who used to be on that show when it was called Speak for Yourself, and all of the changes that it went through, was Marcellus Wiley. Marcellus Wiley is now no longer with FS1. He used to be on the same show where Joy Taylor and the co-host Emmanuel Taylor were allegedly messing around with each other. So when this whole story broke, and man, look at Joy. Joy is nice. And so when this whole story broke, I couldn't wait to hear what Marcellus Wiley had to say about this, because he's worked with both of them. So what is his take on all of this? Let's react.
But I will systematically break this down, page by page, over the coming weeks. I'll give it that. If not for my own desires, because I wish it would have occurred for me, but also let's get to the truth. I'm gonna say one thing after reading this entire lawsuit. I'm gonna say one thing right now. This is my disclaimer. I've read a lot of these lawsuits, including my own. The level of receipts of these assumptions, these allegations, is alarming. It's damning if you're one of the defendants, which is Fox, FS1, Joy Taylor, Charlie Dixon. And could be more, as they stated. From text messages to eyewitnesses to anonymous witnesses who still haven't revealed their names. And the fact is, this is a class action filing. This could get uglier real fast. Here's an example of how it could get uglier. What if there was an
All right, so listen to what he's about to say and connect the dots. He ain't gonna say it outright. Just connect the dots. Check this out.
Employee who lost their job, or their job was negatively influenced, right? Intimidated, moved around, put in bad situations, off the network. And it was because their boss, allegedly, was sleeping with another employee, and their co-host was sleeping with the same employee. And then that same employee coincidentally just ends up replacing that individual. It's an example, of course, but imagine some kind of love triangle where the boss and a co-host was sleeping with the same person who ends up replacing that individual. Interesting example, isn't it?
Ooh. So, as I previously stated, he used to be on a show with Joy and Emmanuel. He got pushed out or left the show, however he left the show, and it became pretty much featuring Joy and Emmanuel, and they threw some other former athletes on the panel. So if you kind of read between the lines, he's saying, what if I got a lawsuit on my hands now, because now I have proof that my coworkers was sleeping with each other and the executive was sleeping with one of the hosts, and now she gets pushed up into a more prominent role and I get pushed out. Oh, wait a minute, what's going on over there?
Allegedly. Our approach today to keep this video from being 1 million minutes, and it's already getting close, is to say three things. What is alleged, what can be proven, and what I think or what I really know. Y'all know me. Many names were mentioned. Let's go there. Not all accused, but that includes the names we've mentioned so far. Emmanuel Acho mentioned. Joy Taylor, Charlie Dixon, defendants. FS1, Fox, defendants. Shannon Sharp mentioned. Colin Coward mentioned. The head of FS1, Eric Shanks, and Mark Silverman potentially become more than just mentioned, but defendants. Hey, itty bitty clan.
All right, so his kids came in here.
On hearing that, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it makes a lot of things make sense.
Here we go.
It's a lot for me.
Okay, he about to start cooking now. See, because what he's saying to us is that when he left the show, he didn't really understand why Marcellus Wiley, and this is my opinion as a watcher, and I've seen all of the shows, The Herd, Undisputed, First Things First, Speak for Yourself. I've watched all of these shows, a bunch of them, right? Marcellus Wiley is talented as hell. He's charismatic, energetic. He's got former football experience. He speaks about the game like he with full intelligence and full understanding, making it simple for even us at home as people who've never been in the league to understand a lot about it. Similarly to how Shannon does, right? He was the cool guy. He's from Compton, but at the same time, he's an Ivy League smart guy. Like, this guy has all of the talent in the world, but for some reason, he didn't fit in that well at the Fox Sports world. So now you got this other young guy who comes along, Emmanuel Acho, who's got similar ways about him than Marcellus, but difference is Emmanuel Acho comes from like an African background. He didn't have nearly even close to as good of an NFL career as Marcellus, and he's okay. He's not really that likable in terms of as much as Marcellus and things like that. So when they let Marcellus go and decided to keep Acho, and the show has not benefited from that at all. If anything, now it's more relevant because now they had to restructure it again because nobody really cared about Acho and Joy's opinions on stuff. So now it's starting to make sense, and it's turned the lights on, and he's getting the understanding of it, of like, all right, now I get why a lot of this happened and played out the way that it played out. So we watching, let's see what's on.
Sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, I've heard that before, multiple times.
Ooh.
Recent as a week or two ago. Part of the reason it was suggested that they do a show together was because of these allegations in the lawsuit that they were sleeping together, conspiring to get that to go. Conspiring with Charlie, conspiring with Emmanuel Acho. Let's make this work. What is crazier is how they split apart, do it different shows. You can say, well, Skip is fired, which is a part of this lawsuit as well. I mean, this is crazy. That's why I say I'm gonna systematically break this thing down. They split apart different shows. Why did they go on different shows? They say relationship went sour. So the Acho, the Joy Taylor, I've heard before. And like me, you know, I protect the guilty. I'm never gonna be the first to the party. Never gonna be the first to the party. But to speak the truth and not to put somebody in no bad light, I will have to do that. I am compelled to do that. And you can call me what you want. You can call me anything but a liar. That's fine. So you can prove this. And unlocking the peace of Charlie. Let me just stay on that for a second. If true, woo-wee. I'm looking at my history and I'm looking at the history of a lot of other talents on that network a lot differently. A lot differently. In a really bad way. Because like we said in that example,
y'all thought it was going to end in 2024. Nah, some of this freakiness is still going to be compromised, unveiled. Yo, this is nuts. This is nuts. The way that everything is playing out for him, as somebody who was inside the company, you could see the lights coming on in the building in his mind. Like, wait a minute, it's a few of these talents now that wasn't so talented that he's probably thinking to himself, now it makes sense how you got what you got. Now it makes sense why they probably cut certain women out the circle or out the loop, because they wasn't compromising themselves, or they wasn't down to do what others were down to do. It get wicked.
Imagine if Charlie allegedly is sleeping with Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho, and there's somebody who's not sleeping with Joy Taylor. Let's just use me, all right? Because I've known Joy Taylor since she was born, basically, it felt like. I mean, I remember seeing her as an itty bitty around her brother, the homie Jason Taylor. We came out the same year in the same draft class, etc. So, known her since itty bitty status. Before this lawsuit, I couldn't make sense of nonsense. But that part right there.
You know her since itty bitty status. Never did you think she would grow up and literally screw you out of a job. Never did you think that you was not thinking that was going to end up being your fate when you knew her from a little itty bitty gruesome titties and turned into a whole monster on your ass.
Here, the allegation of Joy Taylor versus sleeping with Charlie Dixon and Emmanuel Acho versus an example like mine unlocks a lot. We'll discuss that later. Let's get to Emmanuel Acho, my dog. Alleges he slept with his co-worker Joy Taylor, which alludes to the conspiracy of her hosting a show and collateral damage that comes from that. Outside of that, she says he was respectful and a good guy at work. The craziest part about this is, you know, Emmanuel's reputation. I see you guys a lot of times when you saw me leave the network, and I never wanted it to be negative towards Acho. Like, you know, Acho was the reason I was let go. I never wanted that to be a reality or even a narrative or perception.
That's
but it
true.
went there.
That's true.
A lot of you guys call him snake in the grass, etc. I see it.
One time previous to this, Marcellus said that he knew from the beginning that Acho wanted his own show, but Acho never was upfront with him about it. Acho always used to play the game and act like they was all team, family, kumbaya type of thing, but he always felt like dude had his own like hidden agendas and stuff like that. So a lot of us who have been supporting and watching his channel and everything he's done since FS1, we really don't rock with Acho. So a lot of this confirms for him what we been thinking and seeing about Acho as well. So
we don't lie on this show. There's something to what's done in dark will come to light. True or false in these allegations, things are looking different in complexion in terms of what happened at FS1 then and what was happening up to this lawsuit. And if you start to piece those moves together, like, oh, wait a minute. Out of nowhere, here comes Joy Taylor, who used to be a bartender and little to no experience, they say, in the lawsuit. This is all lawsuit, y'all. Don't be thinking I'm just going in on people. I read it. I know y'all didn't. Oh, that's why I got y'all. Turns into doing a lot more. And Emmanuel Acho, who comes from a 3-4 year playing career that he even says was a little below standard, a little subpar, but
I'm an Eagles fan. It was whack.
Uncomfortable conversation guy, Oprah Winfrey guy, plugged media star. This is co-hosts a show with me, co-hosts a show with Joy, co-hosts a show now with another ensemble, does a Saturday show, does other shows, HBO Max, I've seen, etc. Interesting. I hear you, Cat.
Their boy. He's their boy.
Don't be calling me.
He's their boy.
Let's get to Charlie Dixon. Allegedly slept with Joy Taylor in exchange for promotions within Fox. Like, look, I could grease these roads if you holler at your boy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty damning if true, because you can now pinpoint how you elevated a former bartender, little to no experience, as it says in the lawsuit, to a star role working on the hit show Undisputed, when that was disputed by many people saying, really? On the Herd, and she speaks well of Collins. Nushin says Colin was professional, respectful. And now Speak. 2 versions of Speak Joy Taylor is hosting. They also said this was long-standing pattern of behavior happened with Charlie Dixon. This ain't the first time. And he's iced out another talent by setting her up to fail on a show. Why I know this would get uglier? Because reading through that lawsuit, I can't prove everything. Like I said, some things I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know that Charlie Dixon and Joy Taylor allegedly were having sex together. But some of those things absolutely, positively were true, were factual, were actually said, even by the perpetrator. She accused somebody in that lawsuit, and then I know the people in the lawsuit, and I'm like, yeah, they told me that. And I never thought of it in this context because it was never unlocked into the allegations of, oh, this was all the way from the top. I was in the understanding that it was all just, host and host doing the most, talent, showing who was more talented, makeup artists and talent, same old. Everywhere I've been, it's the same old. But now, hearing that it may have started up top, whole different animal. You know how
corruption starts at the head, people. So if, like he's saying, if it came from up top, it makes him think, wow, like maybe a lot of the decisions that have been made about my career and my direction of my career and the different shows that I can do versus not do, and the opportunities that's closed for me versus maybe I could have been on Skip and Shannon if I would have been the one who was doing certain things, or this person was given that because they were sleeping with that person. Yeah. So what might seem like harmless situation of, oh, if that's her being attracted to a powerful man, there's nothing wrong with that. No, it is something wrong with that, because now that powerful man is compromised and his decision making is compromised, right? Because he might be saying, yo, if I hold this spot for her, I know I'm gonna take her to Mexico, I'm gonna take her to Cancun, and she really gonna do it big. You know what I mean? She might bring one of her homegirls. She might be so grateful she might never let it go. You know what I mean? Like, that's where it's like tricky, because it's not just her sleeping with whoever she's sleeping with to get to the top. Like, that's been going on for decades and ages, and until AI and robots take over, that's always going to be the deal. But when you are in work environments, it does affect other people's livelihoods, especially when that person is getting promotions, because now you're getting put in spots and slots that other people may have been more deserving in, but they ain't busted open, or they wasn't attracted to that person. Maybe they might have did it too if that person was attracted to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it might suck to hear the truth, but maybe if you look like Joy Taylor, you'd have got a little further, because now Charlie Dixon would have approached you, gave you that opportunity to, you know what I mean? To level up.
I feel right now, being real, I feel like this. I don't feel vindicated because I didn't step in this. But I know when I was accused, and I know when it was alleged about me, and I know that wherever I was in terms of who you thought I was, that 100% pure Marcellus, he's 3-time Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate, and Marcellus in the community, a Project Transit, never does anything. He's so approachable. I know I didn't have 100% of you guys anymore. I was in the 90s, 80s, maybe, probably 90s. Most people didn't believe it. But some do. Some did. Some probably still do. Just as a starting point, it's amazing that it took a 30-year-old lawsuit against me full of falseness to make me feel like I feel right now. Because if that was true to any degree, wouldn't you think that some big conspiracy, craziness, sex, scandalicious place like FS1, somehow, some way I would have stepped in it. Got a little on my clothes, a little blood on me, right?
That's a fact.
Did not, because I am not. And that's where I'm going to start in terms of this. What's going to come from this? More names. Guarantee that. More names. More lawsuits, more names.
Shannon.
Because unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't even want to say either way. I ain't picking no sides.
We gonna hear anything about Colin Coward?
What Nushin wrote, at least some of it, I know for fact is real. Take it from there. Go from there. All right. I want y'all to be.
Woo! So, I don't think Joy Taylor's offered a statement as of yet. She does a podcast with Taylor Rooks, who people also now starting to question what's up with Taylor Rooks if her and Joy is on the same type of timing, which, you know what I mean, which sucks for Taylor. But that's how it goes. Like, people gonna associate you with the people that you hang out with, right? That birds of a feather type of situation. Like, that's just gonna be the association people give. So is Joy gonna address this on her podcast this week? Who knows? But damn if this ain't damning. Now Joy Taylor got Taylor Rooks looking crazy. Taylor Rooks is trending on Twitter right now because people want to know, was she involved in anything, even though I think they had different networks. But you know how they say, they run in the same circles. So on the larger scale, there are female journalists who despise these type of situations and women like Joy, because now it kind of makes them all look compromised a little bit. Not necessarily, but there are people who think like that, right? Which is why Taylor Rooks is trending. There are people who are going to associate, oh, the women who getting all these exclusives, they probably sleeping with somebody. They probably messing with this player. Oh, she's doing an exchange. Oh, she's moving up in the ranks. Oh, she's probably messing around with somebody. It gives truth to all of those stereotypes that a lot of the hardworking women try to fight off. And then there's just those who out there doing what it do, baby. I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby. That's what Joy Taylor says. She said, look, y'all got me up. That nigga ain't gonna suck himself. She said, I got it, Charlie. Don't worry about it. And just rolls through the ranks. The mouth of the South. Joy Taylor. But again, these are all allegations. Could possibly just not be true. But it is interesting that Marcellus Wiley, who's worked with the both of them, has said that he's heard this before many times, and even as recently as last week, that Joy and Acho been sleeping together, and he ain't know the part about her sleeping with the executive. That part was the bombshell that really made him reflect back on his time at FS1. But hence his life, bro. It's just how it is. Women are going to always be attracted to powerful men. Powerful men are always going to be attracted to attractive women. And that exchange is a tough thing to circumvent in the workplace. What's your thoughts on it, man? Have you ever known anybody in your job that started messing around with each other? Somebody who was getting promotions because she was, busting it open. I know somebody who was doing that type of activities, a young lady. Sleeping with two different guys. Started sleeping out with her coworker, then started sleeping with the supervisor, and things started looking a little bit more upward for her and her mobility. So it happens every day. Let's just be real.